What's going on, guys? So I made a video the other day and I couldn't help but notice that the wind has just been messing up all my videos. At first, whenever I play it, I have a MacBook that I do the majority of my editing on, and you can hear the wind noise. You can see in the sound bite that, you know, there's elevation as far as background noise, but it didn't sound too bad. And I watched the video on the laptop and it didn't sound bad. But then the other day, I decided I was going to start doing my editing and I wanted to be quiet, and there were people that were around, and so I put my headphones in, put my earbuds in, I started doing editing, and all I could hear was this wind noise. And it's probably, I don't even know what it sounds like right now. I'm not going to be able to find out until I get back and hook this audio back up. And it was annoying, and I was getting pretty pissed off. So, like anyone that wants to solve a problem, went back to YouTube to find out what everyone was doing. And what a lot of guys are doing is they create what's called a dead cat, which is a piece of fabric that they put over the top of their mic, and it helps cut down picking up on the background noise. So I tried it. I watched a bunch of different videos, and a lot of guys were recommending to go to a specific, go get a specific type of fabric, something that looks like a craft fabric, looks almost like animal fur. Is probably one good way to put it. So that was my project. I went to a fabric store, picked up a piece for $2, took it home, followed what a lot of guys said to do, and made this hideous thing which looks just like a dead animal. Mounted it up, put it inside the helmet, and I didn't film with it because I just wanted to get the feel of it and see what it was like, and I couldn't stand it. There was so much fabric, and it was next to my mouth. It was hitting myself. It was hitting me in the nose. It was uncomfortable, and it was almost tight against my lips. And that's the other problem I have, is that right now my helmet, I have just a regular street helmet, and also having a ginormous head doesn't help, and everything is just, there's no room from where my mouth is to where the mic is that I have in there. So to put two pieces of fabric on the inside of it, it just packed everything up, and it just made it uncomfortable to the point where I wouldn't even be able to talk, because all I'd be doing is thinking about, man, this thing's a piece of shit. Let me get rid of it. So then that's exactly what I did. I went back home and ripped it out, and I thought, okay, well, there's got to be a different way, because what's the overall goal here is you need to put something over the mic that's going to cut down on background noise. So I started going through my ridiculous pile of boxes and things that I have, and the easiest thing I came up with was a simple set of fabric gloves that I will never wear. They were issued to me, I think, one time when I deployed, just a brown pair of thin gloves that we're supposed to take with us, and it's a requirement to have. So I looked at it, it lined up perfect, so I cut the finger off, put a hole in it, and that's now what I'm using to wrap around the mic. So this is kind of my test run mic to see how it is. And of course, right now what we're doing, we're sitting in traffic and there's no wind, but that'll change. So hopefully this is a much better setup. And I also found a way to kind of tuck the mic back in right next to the cheek pad a little bit, so that way it's not right in front of me. I'm not touching it with my mouth, and you know, whatever, you don't care about that. But hopefully this works. When I get back, I'll do kind of a breakdown of what exactly I did and how I set it up. So if it works, that's another option that you might want to be able to consider. If you don't want to go out and buy this fabric, if you got some old junky things laying around that you can get rid of, then by all means use it. Let me know what you guys think. But yeah, the other day I went out on just a little ride before work again. Talked for a good hour. Had a good hour of footage, and it sounded like shit. So hopefully we got a good fix. And if this setup works, then good, rock on. Well, I want to show you guys what I did for my mic setup. I tried to use a piece of fabric like a lot of other people did to make a windsock or a dead cat. And the problem I have is that I don't have a lot of room between my mouth and the front of the helmet. So whenever I put in the fabric, it just drove me nuts. I mean, it was touching my mouth the whole time. It was touching my nose. It was uncomfortable, and all I kept thinking about was this piece of fabric that was in there. And even I tried trimming it up, and even then it was still too close. I didn't have the room. So I came up with kind of a different solution than what most people go with. So first of all, here's my helmet. It's just a, whoops, there goes the gloves. It's just a generic, simple Sparks helmet. I bought this about 3 years ago. They actually had it. I think it only cost me like $89. It is a functional helmet, and its whole function is to protect my dome if I go into a crash. There's nothing spectacular about this helmet. It has a lot of wind noise in it for a full face helmet. It seals pretty decent whenever you put the visor down, but there's a ton of wind noise that comes in it. So that's one of the issues I already have with my setup. Did go with a front mount. Yep, and I am kind of behind times. I have a GoPro Hero 2, but the best part about it is it was free, so that's why I'm using it. I just couldn't figure it out. So I have to run a 3.5 millimeter extension, and that's the only plug-in that you have in this Hero 2, and then it runs into my mic, which I just tucked my mic back underneath this cheek pad. There's nothing holding it in place. In fact, I didn't even put any more 3M. This is where I used to have it on this piece of 3M, which I need to pull off, but I just have it tucked in here, and it holds in place really well. So if you're looking at that, you're probably like, what the hell is that he's got on there? It looks like a sock. Well, that's essentially the same fabric that it would be. And what it is I had an old pair of gloves laying around. There were these things right here. These are just a simple pair of gloves. So what I did was I cut the middle finger off, cut a hole which would be probably right about right here, just a small little hole, burnt the ends of it with a lighter just to make sure it doesn't unravel, and then tucked my mic into that piece right there. Now this end here is open, and I could probably put something on to shut it, but all I did was just fold it back onto itself and tuck it in. So now it's not going to be as noise proof as the big thick fabric, but it's creating a barrier for the wind that it would still have to go through. So it's still going to filter the wind out. And not the best case scenario, but this is just another alternative that you guys can do if you have that type of mic. In fact, even the smaller little round mics that a lot of the guys are using nowadays for their GoPros that actually work, this would almost be perfect. If you have an old glove laying around that's made of at least fabric on one end, cut the fingertip off, put your mic in there and use that. And then that's going to cut down on the amount of space it takes up. If you have a full face helmet like this that's enclosed and you don't have a lot of room on front, it's another alternative if you don't want to go out and do the fabric route, because I know it can be kind of a pain in the butt to make those. So just wanted to give you something else. So then what? So